last week, NVIDIA reported earnings, and I heard someone describe it as a Fed Open Market Committee meeting, a PCE, a CPI print, and a jobs report all in one. And it's pretty interesting to hear that because they made $14.9 billion in their first quarter. That's in 3 months, net.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Castaways Park, Newport Beach. I talked about it on my call the other day, or my video, I guess, Thursday night. Check this out. This is a very cool spot here. You can see all these flags. There are 1,776 flags lined up here for the year 1776, which truly was born in 1976. So this is a point. You're gonna get a payoff here in a second. So apologize, you're catching me on a funky outfit here. I went for a jog earlier. Check that out. I mean, it goes all the way around. I'm gonna take the shortcut. This is gonna be a short video, I promise. I'm not gonna talk too much about news. I want to talk about honoring those that have served our country, fallen. It's not just if someone's fallen during service, which obviously is the ultimate sacrifice, but if they have passed but served when they were alive. And so it's a very somber place here right now, so trying not to disturb everyone's peace. But Memorial Day is a very moving event. Let me see. So here, for example, is Edward Kraszewski, Army, World War II, the Exchange Club of Newport Harbor. So there's a tag on every one of these. Lenny Siegel. So there are yellow tags on every one of these. And then there's a huge monument up here that shows all those that have fallen that are from Orange County. So check this out. So, by the way, we're almost at sunset. Trying to time this where I get you a little sunset action too. Okay, before we get to the big payout at the end, I promise you, we're only 2 minutes in. This is not going to be one of my regular 10-minute videos. Let me just talk about what's going on. So, last week, NVIDIA reported earnings, and I heard someone describe it as a Fed Open Market Committee meeting, a PCE, a CPI print, and a jobs report all in one. And it's pretty interesting to hear that because they made $14.9 billion in their first quarter. That's in 3 months, net. It's insane. Just their top 5 customers, which are, all of your magnificent 7 type stocks, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Meta. They're spending so much money on chips to make sure that they're ready for AI. And so I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only your profits. But NVIDIA rolled pretty good, and they look to be poised to take on a lot more orders coming up here in at least a quarter or two. So we'll watch that. Okay, so we're coming up here to the payoff. Let me just talk about why NVIDIA is important. It marks the end, pretty much. There's this short week here, and then next week, and then earnings season for Q1 is over. And then the financials start reporting again for Q2 reporting for Q2 earnings. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But companies seem to be doing well, and we're going to find out how well. We get some really good numbers this week. Get GDP. Now remember, gross domestic product is not just how the nation's economy is doing, but there's an unemployment number in there. There is inflation number in there, and it's a quarterly read. This is a very cool vantage point. Check this out. All right, so for those that are familiar with Newport Beach, there we go. That is the Back Bay, right back there. That's Fashion Island Mall. Some of you may have been there. And we're about to be right up here on the point. It's a little cloudy, so I don't think we're going to get a very good sunset this time. But lots of little doggos here. All right, so there's a monument over here that I want to show you. I'll give you this point. Okay, so not only do we get the GDP read, we also have the big one, the PCE, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, called the Fed deflator, the personal consumption expenditure. Now, it's more real-time expenditures, and it is, it's the last day of the month. It's on Friday. So they had the whole month to collect the data, so it's usually pretty accurate. So that's a big one that's coming out. And, of course, there's home price indexes, Case-Shiller and FHFA. That's huge. Okay, so now you're going to get some water, all right? That is Newport Harbor, at least the intercoastal. PCH is right down there behind us. And then you're getting back out towards the end of the peninsula, going that way. And then here's this monument over here. By the way, this is Castaways Park. So if you want to freeze frame that and read backwards or whatever it says. Newport Landing was created in the 1870s. I'm going to get one more little better view for you. And I'll show you this monument for all the fallen. It's pretty awesome, actually. Okay, so get you a PCH view. I know that's what you're going for. There you go. Get some traffic. Okay, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. It's like US 1 over there up on the East Coast. I used to live right by that. You got a bunch of water out there. Cafe Sol, Linda Isle. Bunch of nice little isles over there. Bay Shore. Right, Corte del Mar. You have a nice view right here. We can sit up there on this bench. Just chill. There's someone chilling up there. Overlook. It's in the low 60s right now. Okay, here we go. Got our flag half-mast. Got our memorial here coming up. The people and businesses of Newport have made donations. The flowers laid here. And then we have this memorial right here. Tip my a little bit forward. They've got me kind of where's yeah. Well. So those are all the battles where those from Orange County. Hey, they talk. Back Bay. Oh, the sun's peeking out. There we go. The sun's set then. There we go. All right. Hope everyone has a wonderful week. It's a short week. It's my short video for a short week. I'll be back Thursday night. Have a great one. Thank you for those that served, still serving, and of course, honoring resident of follow. Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Newport Beach. This is my kitchen, and we're hanging out here at the dinner table. It's Friday afternoon, 12:20, and I have one more scheduled call later, and I waited to do my Thursday video Friday because of the PCE, so we have more inflation data that came out and GDP data, so growth data, inflation data. But before I get to that, I want to get serious for a second, and got prayer warriors out there, anyone that knows the trouble that exists when summer starts and all the kids are at home. So we're praying for the parents out there. I know that some schools out, our kids don't get out for another week. And I know it's a lot of stress when the kids aren't at school for the entire day from 8 to 3 o'clock or whatever. So it's crazy. There's fighting. Everyone's got to feed the neighbors' kids, and there's activities and swimming and all that stuff. So, and to make even more lighthearted that, I know there's some empty nesters out there that probably praying and just wishing for one more summer they had with their kids. So get ready for summer. Game on. May's come to an end. Good month. Locks were up, I think, generally for the industry in the month of May, and June should be a good funding month. And then all bets are off. Seasonal slowdown. July typically, starts to slow down funding-wise, and we'll see what happens the second half of this year. Still plenty of business to get done, so let's keep grinding. All right. So growth, but slowing growth. Inflation, but slowing inflation growth. So that was the news of the week in housing. So the GDP, the gross domestic product, came out, and we had a 1.3% quarterly GDP read. Was expected to be 1.5. That's down. Remember, Q3 last year, we were like 4.5. So we got like 4.5 to 3.9. Now we're, we just keep slowing. And that's actually good news for inflation. Consumer consumption, which we know that 70% of our entire economy is, consumer consumption. It's us spending money on things. That was at 2%, and that was down from 2.5%. So that was a pretty big slowdown, had a lot to do with that. So we'll see how things go in the summer. PCE came out today. That is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. It's literally called the Fed deflator. And that came in just a little bit softer than expected. It came in at like 0.249. So you round that down to 0.2, the headline number, but it's basically 2.5, 0.25. So, that's still pretty much just under 3% annualized, right? So like 2.8% annualized if you look at everything. Now, if you took just that number, that 0.249, you're almost exactly at 3%, just a smidge under. So we'll see what happens with inflation, but obviously housing is still growing in that number. The housing component is still growing, but it grew 0.7% versus 0.8%, the prior PCE. So growth, but slowing growth in the housing component. And then like apparel and apparel services exploded in this report. I don't even know what that means. I read it from one of my stock subscription services, Tom Lee and Fundstrat. But he's like, do we really think apparel services is going to keep exploding in pricing and growth? I doubt it. So we're still looking at auto insurance, shelter. One of the one-offs that we saw in the first quarter was like stock fees for like our stock advisors because the stock market was going up. That came down in this report. So slowing inflation is a good thing. Now the chances of a Fed rate cut in September, that number went up. So the 10-year Treasury went up early this week because of the Treasury auctions. I think there was a 3, 5, and 7-year auction. And then with the GDP and then the PCE reports, now we're back down in the range of where we were last week when things were coming down. So will the stock market go back up because the rates are coming down? We'll see. So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only your profits. Okay, before we get into any more housing news, for our women out there, did you know that Mexico is about to elect their first female president? Mexico, our southern neighbor, arguably our greatest trading partner in the world, as far as being friendly and NAFTA and all that kind of stuff, they're about to elect a female president. So that's pretty cool. And I believe the Indianapolis Fed is going to replace Loretta Mester with Martha. I forgot her last name, starts with a B. Anyway, she's a Fed governor for an ex-Goldman Sachs executive. So great leadership happening on the female front. Thought I'd throw that out there. Pretty cool. When's the U.S. going to have a female president? In light of what's going on this week, I mean, maybe a dark horse female candidate could come out of nowhere and win this election. I feel like the two candidates we have aren't the greatest. Maybe someone in their 60s, Anyway, I digress. Anyway, lots of data coming out next week. It's about jobs. It's jobs report next Friday. It's jobs week. There's a lot of great data that comes out. And labor, if it continues to soften, the Fed will feel like, why is labor so important? Okay, we talk about inflation. Prices are rising in all facets of our life. But when people lose jobs, they go to zero in income. And when you have no money to spend, there's less inflationary pressure to buy those goods or services, right? And so it is a very deflationary force when unemployment rises, or when there's less hiring, or wage inflation goes down, or all those things. So we'll keep an eye on all the jobs data next week. Hey, here in Orange County, they say May gray and June gloom. It's very cloudy, dark, and cool. For those that are sweating their faces off out there, stay cool. I know summer officially kicks off a little bit later in June. But for those of us with kids out there, it's already started. So good luck with all the travels, the family vacations, all the sports, all the activities, the camps and everything. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Cheers.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents. a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.